Welcome back, everybody. Young entrepreneurs are being celebrated through Pat on Brands and through the inaugural Youth Brand Owned Awards taking place on the 15th of June. Now, this first of its kind in Mzansi aims at recognizing and empowering proudly South African brands that are owned by the youth. We're now joined by the founder of Pat on Brands, Pat Mahlangu, to tell us more about these awards. Pat, very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you so much, and good morning to your viewers.
Tell me, what inspired you to, encapsulate and also start these brands?
So the awards actually are aimed at sort of recognizing and empowering youth-owned brands, and it comes from a place as a young entrepreneur myself, I realized that actually you need someone to recognize the little efforts that you're making, in building a business, because I can tell you, building a business is not easy. Yes. It's one of the toughest things that one can ever do. And young people are bootstrapping, are starting their businesses. They have nothing, no big resources, no marketing budgets, but nonetheless, they find a way of building a brand that now competes with big brands that have been around for many years. So I want to recognize those young people that are taking matters into their own hands, and also to change the narrative around young people. They say young people are apathetic, they're lazy, they're entitled, they're impatient, they don't want to work, just want to sit at home and get things for free. But that's not true. A lot of young people are starting businesses, are building brands that are contributing to the economy of this country. So those are the young people or young brands that we want to recognize.
Pat, you mentioned some of the challenges and problems that youth encounter, in particular when they start their businesses, such as lack of, access to finance, lack of mentorship, and just generally lack of, the passion to push their businesses. So how do these awards cover that gap?
So with these awards, what we're trying to do is to also get corporates on board in terms of being our partners and sponsors. Okay. So that once we are done awarding these youth-owned brands, we can then afford them opportunities for mentorship, get access to mentorship with people that are already big in business, that have already built successful businesses. Then also what we want to do is to also source some funds, that as part of the prize that the winners of these awards will get, let's allocate some cash prizes as well, so that at least after they've won the awards, if you needed a new laptop, for example, for your business and you just hired someone, at least we can help you cover that.
Okay. Now, to help us better understand the architecture and the makeup of these awards, just take us through some of the categories.
So we've got 16 categories, and you may ask why 16, because we call them the top 16 youth-owned brands awards. So 16, we also borrowing from our history, June 16. So we are saying the youth of 1976 for the political fight, and the youth of today is fighting an economical one. They're building brands that are building this economy. So that's why we have 16 brands. We could have had 20 or 100, but we're going with 16 for that particular purpose in terms of just borrowing from our history. So we've got, whether you're in apparel, fashion, beverages, which is sponsored by BlackRock. So we've got 16 different categories. If you are in technology, you just build an app or you build some piece of technology, you can enter these awards. If you're in services, if you're cleaning people's sneakers, if you run a logistic company or logistic services company, you can enter these awards. And really, I just want to emphasize this. So we don't want to recognize the individual. We want to recognize the brand that the individual has built.
Oh, okay.
You don't want to recognize Pat, but you can recognize Pat on Brands.
The business.
For example, the business. So, and also we believe that for the longest time, if we want the world to take us seriously as South Africa, as a country, we need to start taking something to the world. It cannot be that it ended in 2012 with Vuvuzela, in 2010 rather, with Vuvuzelas. We need to take brands that are globally competitive and that will sort of represent our country really well. If you look at what the Germans did, through my readings actually, I learned that for many years, products from Germany were not seen as quality. But then they built what they call the circle of excellence, and they started building and producing brands that are of high quality. And today, anything that comes from Germany is high quality. So anything that comes from South Africa at some point needs to be at that level, if not better. And it starts with young people's brands.
You know, Pat, well, one thing I can tell you is that South African youth are very, very, creative and innovative. And I know that it's going to be very, very difficult selecting the best business, to be the ultimate winner. So talk to us about the selection process and what criteria that you'll be applying to come up with the best winners.
So for now, we actually at the nomination stage. So nominations are still open. We're closing on the 6th. So I just want to encourage everyone to go onto our website and nominate their favorite youth-owned brand.
Okay.
Once the nominations close, so we're going to hand over to our esteemed judges.
Yes.
So we've got captains of industry that are going to be judging these awards. The entries, sifting them through. But then again, what makes these awards so unique is that unlike the many awards that we have in the marketing and communications industry, where it's only decided upon by industry players like marketers and people from agencies and. So with these awards, it's the public that are going to decide who the winner is. So the judges are going to be there just to judge the quality of the entries and just sort of looking at whether, like, for example, the brand CI, it's consistently applied across board, whether there's some element of creativity, whether they run like campaigns, because every brand, every now and then, you gotta have a campaign to excite your consumers. We're looking at the availability and distribution of these products. So those are some of the things that the judges are going to be looking at. So once they shortlist the top 4 each category, so we're going to end up with about 64 brands that will go on to the public, and the public would select which one they think deserves.
So the public would vote for these brands.
So yes, the public.
But then, Pat, is there not a danger of the public, because you said that you're not focusing on the individual but the business or the brand? So will that not be pose a danger for the public to vote for that individual? Which I know I like Pat. Pat is a good guy, so I'm going to vote for him and not focus on the business.
No, we're not going to take Pat. We're not going to publicize Pat. We're going to say here's brand X, brand B, brand Z, brand Q. And you vote on the brand. Okay. Or it's up to you to say, to go research further and find out who the founder is and be like, okay, maybe Pat is the founder of Brands Z. Then Pat looks cute and I can vote. I can vote for him, But at the core of it is that we want to recognize the brands. And also remember, it's even though brands are started by individuals, but it's the brands and the business that hire people.
Right.
So those are the things that we're actually going to be focusing on, to say these brands, as young as they are, as small as they are, with the limited resources that they have, they still go out there, they create employment, they create opportunities for other young people. And I'm sure you might have seen all over, if you drive around Joburg, you see billboards everywhere of sneaker brands, saying, look, for them to reach that level, and having started from a shack somewhere or from a bedroom somewhere in the township, to now dominating the streets of Johannesburg, it's really a massive thing, and those are the kind of brands and those are the stories that we need to start highlighting. Okay.
So tell me, just before I let you go, I know that so many youth might be interested in knowing the prize package. What do they get?
I'm not in a position to announce the prize package at the moment.
Okay.
The biggest thing, I think anyone who's ever started a business or who's starting a business, is that it doesn't matter how much you get to get through to the next point, but it's about using what you have to get to the next point. So I don't want people to be encouraged really about the prize money for these awards. I want people to be encouraged by building something that will live beyond them. And building something that is impactful in our society. That's what.
And I suppose being part of this platform will help in that regard.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So how do they nominate, and those wanting to partake, how do they do that?
So they can go on to patronbrands.com /top 16 awards. So all the information is there, even frequently asked questions. If you want to know what age group, for example, you're looking at. When you say the youth, please, we're saying people between the ages of 18 and 35. So the ANC Youth League version of the youth is not applicable for this one.
Oopsie, I don't qualify. All right, Pat, lovely chatting to you, man. This is such a brilliant initiative. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, that was Pat on Brands founder Pat Mahlangu speaking to us about the inaugural Top 16 Youth-Owned Brand Awards aimed at recognizing and empowering proudly South African brands that are owned by the youth.